Go Astros, a focus on H-Town hardball.
So we are jumping back into Go Astros. My brother Tim is joining us. He will be one of our anchors to talk about this very different. It's going to be it's a crossroads kind of season for the Astros, Tim.
Absolutely. I think it is. I think there's a lot to be positive about. I think there's a lot of youth. I think that as long as nobody falls to the pandemic any longer, then I think we're going to be great. I think that, people aren't seeing the big names. Hopefully with the Odorizzi signing, that alleviates that pressure. But, looking at the roster and thinking about last year and that small pressure-filled season that they played, guys like Christian Javier coming up and actually giving him a full season. Yeah. This could be something big for him. You'd start seeing him maybe come from a 4 to maybe a 2 or a 3, or I don't want to say it, but maybe a 1. Who knows? But I think there's a lot to be positive about. I think there's a lot to look at and a lot of excitement to have for Astros fans.
You brought up Odorizzi, and one of the things I've always felt interesting, and I think it's sports fans get in a rut, and so for some reason we still sort of saddled Jim Crane with the thing we've saddled every Astros owner of: he doesn't spend money. Does the Odorizzi signing and the bringing Brantley back signing, does that kind of remove some of that label for him?
I mean, I think it does. I think it absolutely does. I mean, Jim Crane to me seems a guy that he's a businessman, right? He looks for that opportunity. I don't necessarily think that he was going to look for the big name. I think that they saw an opportunity with Odorizzi, with Fromber falling down and missing most of the season is what it looks like.
Yeah.
He's worried about a baseball team, and rightfully so. I think that he can look at the Odorizzi signing and say, yeah, I got a name, I spent some money, that's cool. But he also looks at this roster and says, hey, there's some talent here that we need to give a chance to. And so, I think that gets that off him, and I think that he made a smart decision with the Brantley signing, and I think he made the right move with the Odorizzi signing. But mostly, when I think about Jim Crane, I think of him as he is a baseball guy, so he knows what he's doing.
One of the things I wanted to bring up, and everybody's depressed about the Springer signing. Not signing. I am one of them, and I try to be smart enough and say, well, on the one hand, he is a 31-year-old outfielder. Is the Springer signing or not signing with the Blue Jays, is that sort of forgiven if Correa gets extended? If it basically came down to one of the two and they picked Correa, is that going to be enough to kind of wash that away?
I don't know. I think that's going to be time will tell. Springer, I mean, George Springer he was the catalyst. He's the match that lit the fuse for this whole run.
Yeah.
And he was the guy, you always had him in the outfield ready to go. And once had his thing, and he's just so talented and just really good, for the clubhouse too. I think that's a time will tell thing. I think that Jim Crane does see, or let's say, everybody in the front office do want to have that core. And I think Correa is a part of that core. And, I think it's a time, like I said, time will tell whether that was the right move. I'm saddened about it too. I know that most of my family is, Maddie especially, for reasons that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a time will tell thing. Let's see what happens. It's a talented individual that you just lost, and he would, it's a lot of money. He wanted to be a 31-year-old outfielder.
So do you think Correa does get signed, and does he have to get signed in spring training, or do you think the Astros have a chance in the open market if that's what they choose to do?
I think if we learned anything from this front office is that, well, I say that liberally because it's relatively a new front office now. We don't really know as much as we did, but if any of the same principles are still involved in the Luna front office, then I think they'll let it kind of go for a little bit. They're not going to oversign. They're going to maybe see how the season works out. If you're strong, maybe we'll get you in there and get you a good deal signed quickly. but I don't see it in spring training now. I don't see it.
Yeah, the concern I have is that every time they've re-signed, it's been in spring training, and then every time it's gone to the season, it's not happened, right? Like, so
right.
Altuve, Bregman, Verlander, Keuchel, Cole, Springer.
Right.
You know, that's I think my ultimate concern. You know, one of the big things is all when Luna was here making deals, his refusal to deal Forrest Whitley. And then I think it just broke today that it looks like Tommy John surgery is going to happen for Forrest.
It's a strained UCL is the official diagnosis.
Yeah, so it looks like I think Chandler Rome has him from the Chronicle is having Tommy John missing the season.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Whitley's ever going to live up to the hype, or is he just going to be a sort of another example of a kid that didn't work out?
I think on the balance beam, we're leaning toward that kid that didn't work out. And that's unfortunate because he's talented. But yeah, it's starting because now the things are starting to compound. Like, this would have been a great year for him to break out.
Yeah.
And for him to show and step up and be that guy. This would have been, you know, the perceivably weak base pitching staff, you know, if you want to look at it that way. This would have been great for him to step up and done that. And not saying it's his fault. I'm not saying that, oh man, he did it on purpose. It's just unfortunate that it's kind of leaning toward the direction of maybe this might have been just kind of, this will fizzle out and maybe not be the guy we thought he would be.
I agree. Disappointing. I think one of the more disappointing turns, Framber Valdez. Nobody really knows.
They're still expecting to see him later in the season.
So you feel like we're going to see him for the year, so he could be a mid-season shot in the arm for the club.
Yeah, I think maybe we're looking, you know, after the break, he's maybe that boost we need because I mean, after he broke the finger, he still pitched the rest of that inning.
I think he pitched the next inning too. Like, it's weird.
Yeah,
like
he did. Yeah, he did. He pitched a little while next inning, but it shows a lot for his toughness, how much he wants to be here. Which, you know, I've told you this before. That's how I want my baseball player on my team to be. I want him to be here, and
you think he was still thinking about Carlos yelling at him last season, and he was afraid to tell anybody he was hurt?
Exactly.
I think he was.
I think he was. I think he's officially foregone surgery, and he's just going to let it heal. And so that's going to keep him a possibility for this year. So I think he comes back.
I certainly hope so. You know, I guess last question, then not last question, but you know, about personnel. We have two Astros that have said they want to be Astros for life: Carlos Correa and Lance McCullers Jr. First of all, if you're James Click and you can sign one of them, particularly in the offseason or in the preseason, still in the spring training, where you can make a very lucrative deal, who do you sign, Correa or McCullers?
I signed Correa. You know, and if you told me coming into the 2020 season, I probably would say McCullers because he was admittedly on social media pumping up his four-seam fastball, so I was all about it. But but just what he did for this team last year, what he did clubhouse-wise and talent. I mean, like, man, he stepped up. You can't. But when we're talking about the Springer situation, Correa became that for this team last year, and I think that shows leadership for the future, and I think that gives you one of your guys. And so I say Correa. McCullers, if you could, I mean, great, but you can't give him number one money. You know what I mean? You just really can't. He has a problem staying healthy, and there's too many times we'll hang up, and he'll hang up a change up, or he'll just lob something, and he gets frustrated and he gets on tilt, and then
here
we are.
He does seem to have, you know, and a lot of that could just be a young player, but he does sometimes become his own worst enemy on the mound. I sort of agree with you. If you know, team friendly number 2 or number 3 starter money is one thing, but not, you know, this cranky Verlander money that's about to get relieved. Okay, so let's play crystal ball for a second. Okay. Is Correa starting at shortstop in Minute Maid Park in 2022? Yes or no?
I say yes.
Okay.
I say, and I know that some of the guys in my baseball league will disagree with me, but they're a bunch of sharks anyway. So just
Okay. What has you the most excited and concerned about the 2021 edition of the Astros?
um, excited baseball. I think that this team is awesome. It's just as many times it's just as good as it was. Obviously you lose big chunks with Springer, but I think the team element's going to come back. I think you're going to see a lot of that fire come back because they're still going to be defending themselves. They're still going to be on edge, and I think that you're going to see a lot of these guys step up in a big way. Hopefully, you see the return of Bregman, and the return of Bregman, the 2017, 2018, 2019 Bregman, the guy that you kind of wish if he wasn't on your team, you wish you could punch him in the face. But so I'm excited about that. I'm starting to see this attitude back. I want that back. Worried about it. I'm worried about the youth. I think this team's young now. I think that these guys that kind of got experience, but now that we have holes, now that we've lost Springer, we've lost some veterans. I think that's worrisome. And that's just in a spring training mind. That's not. Let's give them a few months and see what they do. Another thing I might be concerned about too is that Jason Castro does not do well on the Astros or the other team. I don't know why he's back in the Star, but
he's back there to play. Oh, stop! He's there to play 25% of the game, so Martin can take a break.
That guy needs to go sell some popcorn.
Oh my God! He needs to join Luke Gregerson in the pro shop.
Exactly. They can run it together. They're best friends.
Are people sleeping on how big a boost Yordan Alvarez is going to be to this team if healthy?
Oh yeah, you don't. I mean, if he's healthy, he could absolutely be that guy. He's a bomber again. He's going to be jacking out, and then they're working him out at first base now. So, I mean, I don't know how athletic he is as far as fielding, but yeah, it's going to be great to have a real.
As we learned though in the movie Moneyball, playing first base is not very hard.
It is the most difficult thing you can do.
It's the moon. But,
yeah, it's the moon to him. But yeah, no, I think just interesting to see how physical he can be out there. But having that dedicated DH is awesome, man. I mean, and he's exciting to watch. He's fun to watch, and he gets those guys going too. So I think it's great. I think glad to have him back.
So I would, if I were to do picks, I have them, as the second best team in the American League. Do I have them too high? Do I have them too low?
I think that you have them maybe a little bit high this year. I'll say this year, and I mean maybe they're the third or the fourth best team in the American League. Not to say that they can't get on a run, and that's baseball, right? They can take, for all you Astros fans out there, don't come after me. But it's I think that they are, like I said, there's a lot of experience that needs to happen, and in some of these younger guys, this could be like I said, let's talk about Christian Javier. This could be a really great season for him to have a full stretch of a season and get some experience, and then come back next year and they're the best team in the American League.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Let's get a little experience in there.
So in my mind, I have it Yankees, Astros. Who do you have ahead of the Astros? I'm assuming you have the Yankees as number one in the AL.
Yeah, I mean, I got the Yankees. There's a lot going on in Chicago that kind of worries me.
Sure.
And they're always there, maybe because our cousin is a fan, and our cousins are fans. Maybe that's why it worries me. But there's a lot going on there that you can't really ignore. And I'm not saying that they're the spot, but there should be they're contenders. And then there's just I'm sorry, I'm totally just drawing a blank right now. But I mean, there's
just take a breath.
Yeah, thanks.
And after you do Chicago, I'll go to my next. So you did Chicago to my next question. All right. So do you have them winning the AL West? And if you do, who is second place?
I do have them winning the AL West, and then those pesky A's will be right nipping at our heels. They're never going to go away. And it's so annoying.
I have A's Angels, and I'm not sure there's anybody above 500. All right, well, he is Timothy Jetchins. He's going to be one of the guys riding shotgun on the Go Astros segment. Tim, we're going to have you back on in just a couple of weeks, right before opening day.
Sounds great, man. I'm excited to be it. And by then I'll have my new studio all set up.
Yeah, I love you guys. He literally was packing right before and immediately after this segment. So
we're
good
making
luck
a
on
move.
the move. And actually one thing, you and I are going to be heading out to see the Albuquerque Isotopes.
Oh, yeah.
What are you excited about when we get out there in June?
Mostly the chili. No, I'm just kidding. I'm excited about watching some baseball. I haven't been, able to go into a lot of the parks because of my old job and everything. So getting out there and actually seeing some different types of baseball. This is a team that my fiance's family has followed for a long, long time. So I'm excited about that and getting to see the park they talk about a lot, and just spending some hanging out with you and watching some baseball, man. That's a great time.